first off, we'd like to introduce ourselves. Janie.
Hello, I am Janie Hatanaka, member of Rotary Club Sao Paulo East and incoming chair of the district for 420 NGSE committee.
Hello, I am Edward Lippin. I'm from the Rotary Club of Medicine Hat, and I'm a member of the District 5360 NGSE team.
And I'm Margie Boyens, past president of the Rotary Club of Medicine Hat and currently district chair of the NGSE program. In 2021, districts 5360 in Alberta, Canada, and 4420 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, developed and presented an 8-week virtual NGSE program. This is a screenshot of the district NGSE team that drove that whole process. Top row from the right, Taylor Fulton, a university student in Lethbridge, Edward Lippin and myself from Medicine Hat. Bottom row left, Henry and Darlene Dunfield from Calgary. Ria Graham, who is with us, was our greeter today, from Calgary. And Dwayne Souveny from Red Deer. So what do we hope to achieve through this breakout session? First, that you will learn a whole lot more about the New Generations Service Exchange program, but specifically that you will have a clear understanding of how we planned, structured, conducted, and evaluated the 8-week virtual NGSE program in District 5360 last year that I've just mentioned, involving a business graduate from Sao Paulo, Brazil, Juliana Nishitani, nicknamed Juba. We hope to succeed in clarifying the value and impact of this piloted virtual program, including our main learnings. We also want to share a bit about where our district's NGSE program is right now and what we've done subsequent to the 8-week virtual program of Juba. Longer term impact, of course, we're hoping that you will all be inspired by this presentation and motivated to go back to your clubs, and if there isn't an NGSE program operating at club level or district level, that you could perhaps become a champion of it at your club in your district and maybe even at zone and international levels. I now hand over to Edward, who's going to pose 2 questions for you to respond to.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello. Hello, Edward.
Audience engagement already. That's why I'm here for. Okay, so let's continue that. I got 2 poll questions for all of you. All right, the first question is, who here has been involved in a Rotary inbound or outbound youth exchange or NGSE exchange to date? Raise your hands. Wow, that's a lot of you. That's impressive. Good. Okay, really good. So the second question is a rating question, all right? So raise your hand when one of them applies to you. So who here would say they have excellent knowledge of the NGSE specifically? Raise your... You? Okay, good. Yeah, I see some up here. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's fine. Excellent knowledge. There's a test. Okay, so who here would say they have good or decent knowledge about the NGSE? Maybe you know what the acronym stands for. Maybe you knew before you entered this session. Some of you, some of you. Okay, who here knows next to nothing about the NGSE? You didn't know what the acronym even stood for? Okay, that's
perfect.
Right. Good, that's exactly what this session is for. We're going to tell you all about the NGSE, and keep in mind, although there is no test at the end of this, I will be asking the same question again at the end. So let's get going by discussing what the NGSE actually is, or New Generation Service Exchange. The program is a short-term experience lasting between a few weeks up to 6 months and is tailored to the vocational needs and life situation of those taking part. The participants are students or young professionals between the ages of 18 to 30. The aim of the program is to combine the participants' professional goals with humanitarian service, covering the 3 main pillars of the NGSE: cultural, vocational, and service exposures. This can be done in any country across the globe that has a Rotary presence, and it can involve an individual or group of individuals, and can be virtual, in person, or a hybrid of both. So expanding on the 3 pillars, NGSE participants engage in Rotary Club service action, through which they gain experience, building their knowledge and understanding of service-related initiatives. Regarding the pillar of culture, since NGSE programs are global by nature, this means participants have the opportunity of opening up their worldview, learning new things like language, traditions, cooking, and building new relationships. The 3rd pillar is the vocational exposure. Participants spend time with people in their chosen vocation in their country of destination. This promotes professional development and the building of vocational connections, networks, and relationships, all globally. Next up, we have a video of District 5360's first virtual NGSE participant, Juliana Nishitani. However, I won't be playing that video. Instead, we have a surprise, as some of you may have already noticed. Juliana Nishitani has traveled all the way here from Brazil to speak to you in person. May we introduce to you none other than NGSE participant who spent 8 weeks virtually in District 5360, Miss Juliana Nishitani. Juba.
Juba.
And I am so delighted to be here today to share with you about my experience of being the first virtual exchange in District 5360. And I heard about this program from my auntie, who is also a Rotary member in the same district as Jenny Hatanaka. And when this program was announced by Jenny, my auntie thought it would be perfect for me because I've always loved getting involved with people of different cultures and with people living all over the world. My exchange needed to be online because of the pandemic, but this was in fact an advantage to me because I was able to do the exchange program as well. I was able to do all my activities in Brazil. It was an 8-week program with unique and valuable experience that allowed me to talk about my inspirations, my vocational interests, and helped me to get to know more about Rotary, and in fact start becoming involved in Rotary. Now Jenny is going to explain why we went the virtual road.
Hi.
Hello everyone. As Edward has said, I will clarify very brief why we choose to do the exchange virtually. It's quite simple, really. As you know, Rotary International virtual in-person exchanges on hold in 2021 because of COVID-19. Both District 420 and District 5360 had decided to continue doing NGSE exchange. So the virtual route was a logical and exciting new option to explore. Was COVID-19 going to put a halt to service exchange? Not a chance. So how did it all get going? Margie and I connected through WhatsApp in January 2021 and agreed to plan a virtual exchange, an inbound individual participant from District 420 to District 5360. We realized that a virtual exchange program would require an extremely committed and dedicated candidate. In addition, the program would have to be interesting in all key areas. In other words, that it should provide a chance to explore how a chosen vocation operates in another country, other immersion in a new culture, and allow the participant to experience Rotary on different levels. Juba Nishtani stood out in District 420 as an ideal candidate because of her profile and high level of interest. Juba successfully went through the application process in District 420. This was followed by a success interview with the District 5360 NGSE team. Our initial focus was to get to know Juba, her vocational, cultural, and service-related wishes and needs, as well as her daily and weekly schedule. We knew that we would have to try to plan a virtual exchange for Juba that was flexible, taking her interests and her study and business commitments into consideration, a tailor-made program.
The planning phase that unfolded involved and indeed necessitated regular communication and close cooperation between the District 5360 team, all the clubs in the district that were going to participate, current and past district governors, and my counterpart, Jamie, and of course, the participant, Juba. There was really good teamwork in the planning phase. It was decided that it would be an 8-week program that would unpack into the participants spending 2 weeks virtually in Medicine Hat, Calgary, Central Alberta, specifically Red Deer and Olds, and Lethbridge. You might wonder why these particular cities? Because we had representatives of these cities on our district team, and each one of them was so keen to host Juba virtually and to develop an exciting program for her in their particular city. What was really important, though, in the planning of the 2 weeks in each city was to make sure that there was some kind of a balance between the 3 pillars of the NGSE to which Edward referred: the vocational aspect, the cultural aspect, and the Rotary service aspect. It was decided that each week would comprise contacts of about an hour each. You were perhaps wondering about that. It wasn't 24/7. 3 contacts per week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, of about an hour each. And in response to a question that you might have, an hour each, we did not want our participant to become zoomed out. I think we all know what that means. The Friday meetings would focus on a look back over the past week, with Juba indicating some of what she had learnt, what she had enjoyed most, what she thought might need to change another time. And then the second part of Friday meetings would be a look forward to the week ahead, a look forward to the plan. Did anything need to be changed in terms of focus or time? We knew it would be important to ensure that the program was flexible from one week to the next. Evaluation always needs to be built in during the planning phase of an exchange. So, as mentioned, we had the weekly look back on Fridays. We also decided to conduct an electronic survey at the end of the 8-week program, involving everyone who had participated in any way in the 8 weeks. And then in addition to that, come on, we needed a party. So we had a Zoomed appreciation party a couple of weeks after the end of the 8 weeks, during which stories could be told about Juba's time in the different cities. There could be a kind of a wrap-up and enjoyment and fun by all. We planned as carefully as we could, but you know how it goes, life happens. And this was a pilot, a virtual experience that none of us had had before. So we planned as carefully as we could, but we knew in the end that we would make the path by walking it. So from planning to execution, please find your seatbelts now because you need to tighten them. Edward is going to take you on a trip through the 8-week program, city by city.
Seatbelts fastened. Good. Good. So, like Margie mentioned, the entire 8-week virtual program took place in Alberta, Canada. There it is. Some of you may not be familiar with Canada in general, and especially Alberta. So, here's a map. I highlighted it in orange. You can see where it is. It's right above, like, Montana in the US. All right, zooming in, we start our adventure in Medicine Hat, Alberta, one of the 4 locations. Now, Medicine Hat was the city that I was responsible for, and that's where the journey begins as well. The other 3 locations, we have short videos from the organization of those. So, starting in Medicine Hat. Now, since this was the location that I was responsible for, and I was relatively new to the city at the time, we thought it'd be a great idea to put together a local team to bring about the most exciting and positive experience for Juba in Medicine Hat. I'm both fortunate and grateful to have had such an extraordinary team to help me ensure this portion of the program was a success. Although more people assisted than this with the Medicine Hat portion, these were some of the key individuals who attended local meetings, offered ideas, became event hosts, and built friendships that last a lifetime. Firstly, I'd like to talk about the Rotary Club of Medicine Hat visits. We booked Juba in for back-to-back Monday noon meetings at the club, which were being held via Zoom anyway due to the pandemic. The first noon meeting, I gave a very short description about the NGSE program and introduced Juba to the club. The following Monday, Juba came out of the gates with a presentation of her own, detailing some of her life experiences as well as some of the experiences that she had within the first week of the NGSE program in Medicine Hat. Next, we have a more serious session where Juba was able to discuss finance, entrepreneurship, economics, marketing, and various other topics with 2 leading experts in the field from Medicine Hat, then Rotary Club President Mark Sorensen and Rotarian and finance expert Neil Mardian, all via Zoom. Lots of learning happened in this session, which had a more vocational focus to it. Now with a less intense focus, we had a beautiful scenic tour via WhatsApp of the downtown area with a stop in a local business for discussions around entrepreneurship, all hosted by a member of our own district NGSE team, Keith Walker. Next was a Zoom session regarding one of Medicine Hat Rotary Club's exciting new service projects, Team Freewheels. Terry Cooper and myself had a great discussion about our bike service project, covering how it works and what we are hoping to achieve with it. The service project, just so you know, acquires abandoned bikes from the police compound, fixes the bikes up, and distributes them to people and organizations in need of mobility to access resources like employment and recreation. Another highlight of the Medicine Hat experience was the WhatsApp tour of the Medicine Hat College by Nicole. The experience took Juliana all around the college and over to the magnificent King Cooley area. Beautiful. And here we have our wonderful Elio. Certainly a star of the show, a star of the entire virtual exchange. Having multiple sessions with Juba via WhatsApp and Zoom and chat, Elio, being from Brazil himself, was great in being able to compare and contrast the 2 countries, showcasing some of the similarities and the differences between the economies and the cultures of our 2 countries. Finally, we were lucky enough to have the virtual program land on the dates of these 2 events, the Rose Bowl and the Stars of the Festival for the Rotary Club Music Festival, which took place on the final weekend for the Medicine Hat portion of the program. All showcased virtually anyway, due to the pandemic at the time. Local artists from all around performed at these 2 events, and we ensured Juba had the right links and the right times to attend these events virtually. That brings us to the end of the Medicine Hat portion of the experience. However, before we move on to the next city, Margie will share some of the lessons learned during this entire virtual exchange.
Thank you, Edward. It became clear to us how accessible the virtual version of the NGSE is for young adults who might not otherwise be able to participate in it. One of the obvious reasons being that there is no direct financial cost. What is required is time and discipline, but no financial cost whatsoever. So imagine how that increases access for people who might not have been able to come up with that airfare. In addition, it does not require the participant, as was the case with Juba, She did not need to give up studies. She was busy with professional English, and she did not have to give up work. Again, promoting the issue of access. So the issue of accessibility stood out as a very distinct virtue of the virtual. Another learning was how the virtual exchange eliminates so many aspects of an exchange that can prove to be very time-consuming, bothersome, limiting, including what? Transport, accommodation, food, traveling time, needing to be in a particular geographical place at a particular time. All of that is eliminated. The result? More time and energy of the participant and all concerned can be focused on the exchange itself, the learning, the experiences, the relationships, through the Zoom meetings and the WhatsApp connections. Back to Edward now, who's going to take us on the Calgary leg of the 8-week program.
All right. Seatbelt still fastened? Good, all right. Let's move on to Calgary. And just in case, here we have a map of Alberta, gold star indicating where Calgary is, just on the southern tip there. So we have a short video from two of the organizers of the Calgary portion of the exchange, Henry and Darlene Dunfield.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
This is Henry and Darlene Dunfield, and we were the host family for the first virtual exchange student, Juliana from Brazil, here in Calgary. I'm with Fish Creek Rotary Club, and we just want to tell you a quick little bit about our experience with the exchange. So this was a new experiment, and it was very, very interesting. We had no idea how it would start because it had never been done from our knowledge before, so it's certainly not by us. So I had to look after the vocational part, and what we came up with was interviews with certain key individuals that were either professionals or entrepreneurs of some sort that were in a business that might be interesting to Juliana to meet with. And so we were very lucky. We had some very willing participants, Dan Doherty, we had Corey, and my daughter Aaliyah, and Rudy, and myself, because I'm also in the business world. So we talked with her and told about our different businesses, what we did, and some perspective, and involved with that some coaching. It's a nice opportunity when you have a young person very eager to learn things and newly graduating. And business all over the world has lots in common. So in fact, I think Juliana even thanked us quite a lot afterward, because we had convinced her to keep her mind and her options open to other opportunities, just other than just pure getting a marketing job. Because she was trying to get into a big firm and it wasn't working. And it ended up that she, after changed her point of view on what to do, she went into a sales job, which she got very quickly and has been very happy with. We talked to her several times, and she's very appreciative of all the coaching and support she got, and she's loving this new job. So it worked out really well. The professionals, we all liked it. It was fun to work with her. It was a limited time, hour and a half, but we ended up really had a chance to interact with somebody that was eager and wanting to learn what we had to offer. And of course, all of us love to do some of that sharing. So I think it was made a big difference in her life, and very proud to have been part of that. So I'll let Darlene speak about the home part, the vocation, or the cultural part.
As we had hosted exchange students before in our home, we were looking forward to doing the first virtual exchange with the NGSE program. We were able to take Juliana on a road trip through the Rocky Mountains. We used WhatsApp, and when the connection was lost, we would take pictures and send them to her once we got through into British Columbia. We also did some walks in Calgary and sent her pictures of that as well. She is such an enthusiastic young woman. She was easy to connect with, and we just really enjoyed our time hosting Juliana through this program.
It's always a lot of fun when you've got somebody from another place as your visitor, because you see your own backyard quite differently when you're now a tour guide. So.
Well,
It was very fun. And it was fun to work with the committee. You get a lot of interesting people and you're trying to work through things. That was a very special experience in itself.
Very nice.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, and good luck with future virtual exchanges. I think there's a lot to come from this yet, and it's going to evolve to something very interesting. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, next up we have a video on the Central Alberta highlights. And in case you were wondering, Central Alberta, Red Deer and Olds location, as indicated by the gold star. This is a video from Dwayne Souveny, who organized the Central Alberta portion of the exchange.
My name is Dwayne Souveny. As a member of the New Generation Service Exchange Committee, I had the privilege of coordinating the Central Alberta portion of the exchange for Juba. This exchange entailed a number of experiences: cultural experiences, vocational experiences, experiences which focused on service above self, and most importantly, it was about relationships and making connections. Juba had a wonderful opportunity to come to Red Deer and virtually have a tour with the director of Tourism Red Deer. Then she went to Olds College for a grand tour of the college. She also participated in a celebration of Alberta agriculture, where she had the opportunity to watch Fallon Many Wounds do a traditional Indigenous dance and listen to the fabulous country and western music of Corb Lund. She also participated in a Service Above Self project with the Central Alberta Sexual Support Center. Let's listen while Sarah describes her role and responsibility with Juba during this period of time.
Speakers right there.
So first of all, yeah, thank you for the introduction. So I'm Sarah from the Central Alberta Sexual Assault Support Center. So Juliana joined us for kind of the service aspect of the program. So I'd just like to say it was a true pleasure to host and work with you, Juliana. I think if we had more time together, we would have got up to more creative endeavors. For the group's knowledge, what we did work together on was a series of social media posts for our organization here in Central Alberta. We're a not-for-profit that works in eliminating sexual violence. So we worked together on the content, and this involved a lot of collaborative conversations back and forth. And then we took some time, and Juliana designed more posts and stories for our Facebook and Instagram pages. We also shared aspects of our organization with you. So I tried my best to take you on a virtual tour of our office, which again was me carrying around my computer. And you learned about one of our Rotary funded programs we have at our center called No Secrets. So this is a program for kids ages 5 to 9 to focus on childhood sexual abuse prevention. For me, it was really wonderful getting to know you and learning more about where you live, your experiences, your expertise and skills, and also how the topic of sexual violence is addressed in Brazil. That was really interesting to our group.
In addition to learning with and from the Central Alberta Sexual Assault Center staff, Juba also had the opportunity to meet with Milano for Men, which is an upscale men's clothing store in Red Deer, to focus on sharing information on how to promote men's fashions, something of interest to Juba, and very much of interest to Milano for Men. And while she was at Olds College, she also had the opportunity to visit the brewery and have an opportunity to see more of our fine country. New Generation Service Exchange is about relationships and connections. Let's listen to, once again, a member of her team, her host family, as she talks about Juba and her relationship here in Central Alberta.
It's Darlene. Hi, I'm Darlene. And I am fairly new to the Rotary family, so I've only been a Rotarian for 9 months. So when Dwayne came to our club and actually asked for participants, I was a little scared because I'm still just trying to learn a little bit about what being a Rotarian is and how I fit. in the big family. So despite being scared, I raised my hand and thought this might be a safe way to jump in, although I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no idea how we were going to do this. But honestly, as I reflect, I don't know that it matters. I don't know that it matters the topic. I don't know that it matters the location. I think what I realized is I had the opportunity to meet an amazing young woman, and I'm the lucky one in this. I really enjoyed the time we spent together, and I don't know that it really mattered what we were doing. So
Juba met with Sarah. She met with Darlene. She met with other families here in Central Alberta to discuss what she does, what they do. The New Generations Service Exchange is a fabulous exchange, even virtually, for people to get to know more about Rotary, know more about each other, and to make the world a better place. Thank you for this opportunity to share.
All right, now we're going back to Margie for some more lessons learned.
You will remember that in the planning we decided on a Friday look back, look forward with Juba. This proved invaluable. She was able to reflect on the past week and to synthesize key learnings and experiences of the past week and look over the planning with us for the week ahead. It was indeed necessary to make adjustments here and there to what had been planned the following week because life happens. It proved to be very important to be flexible as we had anticipated, week by week, so as to stay in sync with all, especially Juba and her dynamic life in Sao Paulo. Edward will now take us on the fourth and final leg of Juba's 8-week program. We're off to Lethbridge.
Finally, we land in Lethbridge. I know you're all wondering where that is. It's the very southern tip of Alberta, as indicated once again by the gold star that I put on the picture. Perfect. So please have a listen to a short video from Taylor Fulton, the organizer of the Lethbridge experience.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor Fulton, and I'm just going to walk everyone through the 2 weeks that Juba spent in Lethbridge virtually for her NGSE exchange last year. So one of the first things that Juba did was get in connection with Linda Kavanaugh, who is a Rotarian of the Rotary Club of Lethbridge downtown. And they together just did some marketing training, communications training, and Linda taught her a lot about her business in Lethbridge that she set up herself. Here's a quote just down at the bottom. So Juliana's enthusiasm for the program and life in general demonstrated to me that she will succeed at whatever she puts her mind to. Best of luck to Juliana and the program. And another really important aspect of Juba's 2 weeks in Lethbridge was her connection with the various Rotaract clubs around the district. So we, along with the the Rotaract Club of the University of Lethbridge, which I'm a member of, we did a murder mystery party on Zoom. It's our tradition every school year to wrap up with this. So it was really nice to have Juba to join us. So here you can see all of us on the screen, and Juba down in the bottom right. And we have all of our names of the various characters that were involved in this murder mystery story. And it was great just to have the interaction of our club members with Juba. They were able to ask her questions about Brazil and her exchange. And just to give these people who are all prospects of the NGSE exchange just a little bit more information. Juba was also able to work with Rotarian Peter Imhoff on his work on the project called the Holocaust Symposium that he put on last year. So Juba was able to do some marketing work with him, including creating a website, making graphics for their social media posts, etc. So in the next slide, there's a video from Peter talking about their experience together.
Hey Juliana, here's Peter. thanks so much for your time with Holocaust Symposium. I really appreciate your help. That was really amazing to have really good graphics. I could not have done that, and the advertising, the marketing, the website, the Instagram was so much better for it. So thanks for doing that, and also bringing in and roping in your friend Luisa. That was very nice that you got to work on it together and that you shared your enthusiasm. So thanks so much for all your help with this project, and I hope you'll continue to do really well. I have no doubt you will. Okay, take care, Juliana. Bye-bye.
Perfect.
Hey, Juliana, here's Peter. Thanks so much.
So now moving on, we also did a tour of Lethbridge downtown with myself and my friend Kaylee. We took her on a few of the spots of our favorite places in Lethbridge and just explained what they were, various cafes and restaurants, bars and stuff like that. I also took her to a few of the places that I used to work at downtown and just showed her inside and kind of how the businesses work, because they're both really, really small businesses, and she's interested in anything to do with business, so that was really fun as well. And then one of the last things I did was take her on a tour virtually of Waterton Parks. And so this video is of Bear's Hug, one of the most famous hikes in Waterton, so I just wanted to show her the town side, my dog on the hike, all of that sort of fun stuff. And then we also had a one-on-one meeting and just kind of compared and contrast Brazil and Canada, because I was lucky enough to do a Rotary Youth Exchange in 2016-17, so we were able to talk some Portuguese, and then this evolved into me actually doing a short impromptu presentation with her English class back in October of this year, and we just talked about the NGSE experience with her classmates in Brazil. So thank you so much for watching. This is all of Juba's experiences in Lethbridge. It was really great to host her here.
Next up, we have Margie with additional learnings derived from Juba's virtual exchange.
So how was the tour? Thank you. Additional learnings. For a virtual exchange to succeed, it would be clear from what you've seen that the full commitment and steadfast discipline of the participant is absolutely essential. We realize that in order to generate this kind of commitment, what we believe that the participant has to be involved in the planning process from the get-go, as Juba was, to ensure that that program is not something that the NGSE team has cooked up, but that has been developed hand in hand with the participant to make sure it matches their interests, their aspirations, their vocational interests, and what they're wanting to learn out of the virtual experience. So our learning was also that the active involvement and support of the district NGSE chair, or perhaps anyone from the sponsoring district, is absolutely essential. We had the full support of Janie Hatanaka from District 4420, the sponsoring district, and it worked wonders to have her completely involved in the program as far as time allowed, showing an interest and giving support to the participant. It made a world of difference. Another learning, and that's an important part of this, is that the virtual version of the NGSE allows much greater exposure of the participant in every way than an in-person exchange could ever do. It's possible to plan a much richer, more varied exchange. As we move now into sharing aspects of the monitoring, evaluation, and impact of the program, let us start by hearing what Mary Turner, who was district governor at the time of Juba's exchange, has to say.
My name is Mary Turner, and I'm the immediate past district governor of District 5360, covering Western Saskatchewan and Southern Alberta in Canada. In my year as district governor, we met many challenges through the COVID-19 pandemic. We also found many silver linings. And one of these silver linings was the New Generation Service Exchange Program. Traditionally, this program occurs between two individuals and two countries, where individuals travel to a new land to experience their new culture. We did it virtually. It wasn't long before we partnered with the District 4420 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. They found a young lady by the name of Juliana who was willing to travel virtually to Western Canada and to learn more about our Canadian culture. Juliana was introduced to our district through all of our club visits and orientation sessions. She soon became known as Juba throughout our whole district. She learned about our Canadian culture, our crazy Canadian weather, and more than anything else, she made a huge impact in the lives of many Rotarians in many clubs throughout our entire district. We divided our district into geographical regions, chose various clubs and club champions from each of those clubs to act as hosts in that particular community. They took Juliana to Rotary Club meetings, to various events in their towns, and even toured local facilities. She attended a Rotaract Club meeting and was introduced to the whole concept of Rotaract in Rotary. She attended our district conference virtually all the way from Sao Paulo, Brazil. It was pretty cool. We were able to share our Canadian culture, and she was able to share some of her culture from Brazil with us. So what did we learn at the end of our cultural exchange program with Juliana? Well, Juliana went home to Sao Paulo, Brazil as a new Rotaract member of a local club that she found in her community. She learned about club projects that we were doing here in District 5360 and took those ideas back to her district in Sao Paulo, and some have been implemented there as well. We've connected our relationship with our two districts and cemented it. We've become good friends, and we can't wait to meet face to face as soon as possible. We've already agreed that if it's not in the near future, it will certainly be at the Rotary International Convention in Calgary in 2025. My year, the theme was Rotary Opens Opportunities. Well, opportunities don't come easily. Opportunities come with courage and trust to do something new. And Juliana said yes. I can't imagine how scary it must have been for her to hook onto that first Zoom call with people speaking a different language in a different culture, far, far away from home. But as my mom used to always say, whenever you venture far from home, there are always wonderful people. They're just waiting for you to meet them. I am thrilled that our district was able to partner with District 4420 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We were able to make incredible new connections with Rotarians and have made many new friendships through this virtual exchange. I challenge you to take on the opportunity to have a virtual exchange in your district. You certainly won't be disappointed, and you'll meet many wonderful new people. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, past District Governor Mary Turner is right here. She's kindly doing some video recording for us, so it's difficult to take a bow. Mary, thank you so much. It's just so powerful when a district governor lends their support to an NGSE program. We thank you.
More than welcome.
So, moving on to monitoring and evaluation and impact. We've mentioned that in terms of monitoring and evaluation, we had the Friday look back session, we had the electronic survey at the end of the 8-week program, and we had the appreciation party that was big fun with lots of stories, but also gave us subjective feedback on how it had been for the people involved in the program. We've tried to share some of our learnings, and it's very much thanks to Kurt that has been included. Kurt, thank you. Let's now pick up on some of what past District Governor Mary said, focusing on the impact of the program. In a nutshell, the outcome and impact of this virtual program were beyond our expectations. It was a pilot. We didn't know what to expect, and we were very excited with what came out of it. As Past District Governor Mary Turner said, in fact, it proved to be part maybe of the silver lining of the COVID-19 period in our district. So we're going to look at the impact at 4 different levels, briefly, starting with international. Clearly, a strong relationship has developed between the 2 participating districts, 5360 and 4420. Through the development of this strong relationship between our 2 districts, we have also presented a second virtual program. This time, a group of young adults on the topic of agriculture, crop production, involving Brazil and 4 other South American countries. Edward will tell you more about this later. And then, of course, another international impact, we've been granted the privilege of presenting this breakout session on Juba's exchange mainly, for which we are most grateful. Jamie?
In Taylor Fruton's video on the left bridge leg of Juba's program, she mentioned how Juba had contacted with the members of the Rotary clubs of the University of Lethbridge and the University of Calgary. Juba is now a member of the Rotary family. She has joined a Rotary club in Sao Paulo. District 4420 also learned about the Rotarian Rotaractor Mentoring Program during Juba's time in District 5360. During the 2 weeks in Calgary, Juba and I were introduced to Dean White's Science, Technology, Engineering and Math STEM project, which is supported by the Rotary Club of Calgary Chinook. With help from my club and a member of the Rotarians, and the active participation of Fiano Colasso of Medicine Head, we have modified what we saw and heard, and we now have a STEM-type project running at the Valentim II Public School in Sao Paulo. Wonderful cross-pollination from one country to another. Margie now goes on with the impact at District 5060 level.
District level. Thanks to the strong support of the program by past district governors Christine Rendell and Mary Turner, the profile of the NGSE was lifted in our district. Juba featured in one of Mary's monthly DG videos. Christine hosted a white hat ceremony, which is tradition in Calgary for Juba, and Juba attended our district conference. With the program spanning a number of cities, new connections were made between clubs and Rotarians within our district. Have a look at the list of Rotary and Rotaract clubs that were involved in the 8-week program of Juba. 13 of them altogether. New connections, new relationships. At club level, many Rotarians became better informed about the NGSE in 4 different ways. As mentioned, Juba attended 2 club meetings virtually in each of the cities, and at one of those she made a short presentation on the NGSE program, her experience of it, and a little bit about herself. And what was so fabulous was each time she made the presentation, one could hear her confidence had increased, her English had improved, and you hear what it's like now. Quite a few Rotarians also actively participated in the 2-week program in their city, organized by their club and their representative. And then fourthly, information about Juba and the exchange was published in a few club newsletters. So all of this resulted in the NGSE becoming far better known than previously. Then there is the all-important impact at what level? The personal level, the personal vocational level, and who better to explain that than Juba herself?
Hi again. So the new generation's experience opened my mind to see things in a different way. It taught me to be grateful and encouraged me to seize opportunities. It gave me a a chance to meet different people of different ages and different backgrounds, and to learn from each and everyone. After my exchange program was over, as Jen said, I became a Rotary member, and I was also able to help implement the STEM project at the primary school in Sao Paulo, and I even got a new job. So I couldn't have asked for more than anything. Nowadays, I work with sales in a multinational company, and I'm here speaking English at an international Rotary convention. And for me, it's a huge victory. And it's all related to what I have learned and what I experienced during my 8-week NGSE 5360. And certainly I can say to you that NGSE really changed my life, and actually is changing my life. From the focus on my 8-week virtual program, Edward will now take a step back and give you insight into the overall functioning of the NGSE in District 5360.
All right, so if I'm back up here, we're on the home stretch. So, outside of the virtual and in-person exchanges that the NGSE does, you may be wondering, what else do we do? Well, this program is a little bit more than just the exchanges, although there's a ton of planning and preparation that goes into each and every exchange. We also do other things, like strategic planning, where we build out quarterly and annual goals for the district NGSE committee. We've built out a robust marketing and communications plan with assistance from a Rotarian who serves on the district communication committee and who has expertise in that area. We also put together a cluster or subcommittee team to support a new inbound virtual group exchange on agriculture, but more on that in a second. Of course, we are also continuously looking for inbound and outbound participants, along with brainstorming vocational topics, which we may want to dedicate an exchange to. So like I mentioned, from March to April of this year, 2022, we had a very exciting virtual exchange around the topic of agricultural crop production, agriculture being one of Alberta's greatest strengths. This exchange is one where we focus solely on a specific vocational topic, agriculture, and involved a group of individuals to learn and engage about it. The district NGSE team set up an agri-cluster comprising 3 Rotarians in our district with knowledge and experience in the field of agriculture to navigate and organize the entire agri-exchange. Clever. They found experts in addition to themselves to present on the different aspects of crop production. Also, each participant in this exchange had a mentor. We had 8 participants on this group virtual exchange from Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, plus 1 from Canada. So let's hear briefly about one of these participants of the Agri-Exchange, about their experience.
What I enjoyed most about the program was having the opportunity to meet people from different countries who also work with agriculture, and who are also part of the organization Rotary International. As well, I really enjoyed having the great opportunity to receive the information from the different topics that were covered during the sessions by highly trained experts who have a lot of experience on those topics. I would say the key learning is to understand that there are different ways to approach the same problem. During the sessions, we mentioned the same problem and how we handle it in each of our countries, and it is like in different alternatives. The key is to understand that maybe now, with all the knowledge that we get, we have like a toolbox from different alternatives how to handle that specific problem. I can try a new one the next time that I get it, and maybe see which one is the best for my specific conditions and my specific environment. This was a great experience in which I acquired a lot of knowledge that I will definitely apply in the crops that I manage here in Colombia, and that I'm pretty sure will bring excellent results. In addition, the friends that were made during the exchange will remain forever, and that is the most important thing.
Excellent. All right, look at that. We are back to the polls. I warned you this was coming. So who now would say they have excellent knowledge of the NGSE? Oh yeah, confidence. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Who here says they have good, okay understanding of the NGSE. That should be all the hands. I should need to ask the third question, that's it. Nobody fell asleep. Okay. Now we do have very limited time here, 4 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? We can have some question time after this as well. But sure, we have time for more questions.
Yeah, like I have good knowledge, but not excellent knowledge. But how does, in terms of preparation, a virtual exchange, like in terms of effort for preparation, how does it compare to an in-person exchange? Because it seems like there's lots of people involved.
There are lots of people, both for virtual and in person, right? And so, Margie, do you have an idea of which would be more work, if virtual or in person, or how does it compare to the planning?
Yeah, that's a tricky question. I think both. It's difficult to compare because it's also dependent on, is it an individual or is it a group, for how long is it? Is there a particular focus or a range of foci? The big thing is that whatever is put together, irrespective of the time that it takes, it's got to be planned with the participant or participants so that one has got the balance of culture, Rotary, and vocation, and you're pretty sure that it's going to match their interests. That issue of commitment and discipline is so important, and one's not going to have that unless one has involved the participant in the planning process. It's difficult to say exactly how much time, it depends. But what is just very important is that a lot of thought is put into the planning and that it's done with the participant. I'm not sure that I want to add any more. Janie, you might want to say something?
Depends on the timing each one participant you have during in the frequency too. Because of course in case of Juba, she had a whole afternoon in Brazilian time. We have 3 hours in difference between Canada and Brazil. So we gained this timing, okay, when the Canada offered to Juba a whole schedule. So she could follow all activities in a different times because she decided to have it free all afternoon to follow during 8 weeks.
Thank you.
Perfect. We're running low on time here. I just want to say we have a Zoom virtual Q&A session about the NGSE Monday, June 27th from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Alberta time. So you can join us. You can reach out to us via that email address to get the invite to the Zoom. This QR code points you directly to our website along with that URL right there. And of course these presentation materials will be available in your app at some point. Also, as demanded by Rotary International, please go into your app and rate this session 5 stars. There's no other options, I've blocked them out. So it's pretty easy. And thank you.